My name's Kelvin West.
I'm Taylor West, and this is Wedding Night.
Okay, so we got the Sanchez Wedding.
Yes.
All right.
Here in Phoenix, right?
Here in Phoenix, right? And yes, here in Phoenix. And what were your top 3 moments?
So at this wedding, there was only DJ services, so we didn't have the photo booth, which gave me some more time to do some other things I normally wouldn't be able to do because I have the photo booth. So one of my favorite things was when guests were arriving, I filled my time with welcoming guests in and then showing them exactly how the night's going to be planned out. So make sure you get your tables, make sure you know your song for when tables are going to be released. Here's where gifts go, here's where the bar is. So it was kind of fun to welcome everyone in and get to see, even if it was just real quick, you know, it started off with an enjoyable, let me meet everyone real quickly.
What was cool about that too is I got to join you. I got to join you, you know, and it gave me a spot to rest because you know me, I'm always bouncing around at these weddings and just making sure everybody's taken care of. And so this was a great opportunity for me to just have some time with you and to play around with some of the guests that came. Yeah, have fun with the guests that came in. So that's a great one. That's a really awesome one. My number one top moment was that it was an ex-coworker of mine that now became a client of mine. Me and the groom went back. You know, we go back. We used to work together, and he hired me. And so that was really cool. So I felt like the stakes were higher this time around. You know, we take on clients and we always shoot for 125%, but this time it was absolutely 150% because
it was a little bit more personable because you know him too. It was more personal,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, because he also knows people that I used to know and work with, and you know, I don't know. You know, I just want him to have a good story to tell in regards to using us for his wedding. So that was a big moment for me.
Yeah.
Number 2.
So my number 2 was the food. The food was delicious. It was little street tacos. I know they had chicken. They had carne asada. I think there was a third one, but I couldn't get past the chicken and carne asada.
Yes.
So the street tacos were delicious. But then we spoke about this in a previous one too, where it was efficient, right? So
tell me about it.
They were busting out tacos left and right, but then people, once they got their tacos on their plate, would then go past the grill and they get their own beans, their rice, their salsas, everything on top of that.
They had the self-serve down packed.
And what was nice about that is that when we played each song to release the table, it was just enough time to get 8 to 10 people through the line, right? So 2 and 8, I mean, and that's what I think you should plan for. You should plan for 2 to 3 minutes to get 8 to 10 people through the buffet. Right, and
if you're going to do a buffet, you got to have a system with it. And we learned this from another wedding, and you're going to hear about this on a previous episode of ours. Is that doing the table releasing via song is just a great way to go because it gives you that amount of time before you have to release the next table. Yeah. So that's a big time thing there. Big time thing there.
What was your number 2?
So my number 2 was the dance floor. This was one of the first times that, so I'm still learning in the mixing, right? And I'm just going to be very transparent in this podcast. I know how to get people dancing. I know how to keep people dancing. What was great about this time... You know
how to be a hype man.
I know how to be a hype man, right? I'm a great MC. And so what was great about this time was that the music was just hitting. It was hitting. And I think it was because we were vibing. There was such a vibe in the entire venue, right? From all of the guests that were there, that we just marinated on the dance floor, and the dancing got started really kind of quickly. What was awesome about that though too was how we were able to accomplish that is that we warmed them up in the beginning, right? So as people were walking in, it's upbeat music. I'm playing, you know, Diana Ross. I'm playing all the oldies, the Motown classics that are all about love and upbeat and having fun. That gets people in the mood. And so by the time the dancing started, by the time the dance floor was on, the people were just on it, and it was not.
They don't even know they're on it. They've already been warmed up, and they didn't even know it.
Yeah, this was the best. This was my best time keeping them dancing. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And that leads into kind of my number 3. So because again the photo booth wasn't there, I could assist you more, and I was able to assist with the transitions and the music, even just throwing in my own ideas, right? Like, hey, this is this set, right? We're doing R&B or we're doing country or whichever. Here's some songs that I would like to hear and add into the set, but then also transitioning from one song to the next so that you're out there on the dance floor, but I'm moving and grooving with it behind the the setup and everything.
Yeah, you know what's funny, Taylor, is that great minds think alike, and you know me very well. My number 3 was Tay stepping up with the DJ.
Yeah.
You absolutely stepped it up. You stepped it up with the DJing. This was your first time behind the booth, managing the music. And there was a time where I was like, well, let me go back and like get the songs changed out. Boom, you'd already hit it. You're fading it up. You're fading it out, and it's like, oh, okay. And I was able to just stay on the dance floor and get people engaged. And one of my favorite moments is when you cued in the "Stupid Love" by Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
And I had to do the routine. I had to do the dance, and so
without hurting yourself this time.
Without hurting myself this time. So good kudos to you. What was your aha moment?
So, and I'm not sure if we mentioned this in the beginning, but this was a backyard venue.
Yes, it
right?
was.
And it was here locally, and
What do you think about backyard venues?
So I think they're hit or miss because there's a lot of things that you don't get for when you have a venue that you would get, right? And essentially it's someone's home, it's someone's private space, and that leaves the event up to
the homeowner.
Risky, it's vulnerable, so make sure you have a really good relationship with that homeowner,
which they did in this.
They did, yeah.
And this homeowner was out of control.
They were amazing.
She was amazing.
Well, remember they had all those at least 200 plants in the backyard, like not just plants, but like vegetables and fruits. And
they could have catered the wedding themselves, right? It could have been farmed.
Just go in the garden, eat right out of it.
Just pick from one of our 4 apples that we have growing in the street.
Yeah,
amazing venue. Like they set it up really, really nicely. But
so my aha moment was we definitely should have seen the venue beforehand.
Yeah,
right. Like, and that's what I think. If there's a venue, you can go online, you can see the layout, you can kind of get an understanding. You can call someone easily that's always there Monday through Friday between 9 and 5, or we can go whichever, right? Like there's many different options. Because the backyard wedding, we didn't have that option, but we should do that again if it's maybe just via Skype or FaceTime or whichever, to at least see it.
And I think we can absolutely do that. And that's something that we used to do too. So,
we do it at every wedding, but with this one, it leads back into the sun, right? It was hard because where the sun was,
we had to move our setup because where they wanted us.
Well, we had to delay setting up.
We sure did. Because I can't risk my equipment out there in that sun. And the sun was like beating down.
And it wasn't like it was 120 out. It was still 90 degrees out, but that's still hot for a piece of machinery.
Right. My equipment. Well, first of all, it's all black, and it's it's equipment. There's electronics involved, and so we don't need those.
And then that runs the risk of it not working when the wedding goes.
During the wedding, absolutely. So my aha moment was the power of the slow song. This was an awesome wedding because I actually got to like play around with the slow songs, and kind of letting those marinate. And what was cool about it was that there was more. That's honestly like what really kind of got the dancing going or kept it going was people were able to take a break and really enjoy the slow song. And there was at times more people on the dance floor during the slow songs than there were during the fast songs. And that speaks a lot to who's at the wedding, right?
Yeah.
A lot of times it's parents, right, at the wedding, and they come to dance, and it's about love.
Well, they may not know "Stupid Love," right? And if they do, they may not know how to dance to it. But everyone knows how to sway back and forth
to "At Last," right?
Or
to
Purple Rain,
right? Exactly. Well, and "Purple Rain" is a great slow song. It really, honestly is. But it was just great. That was an aha moment for me, and it changed the way I do my sets going forward. Is that like I spent some time with the slow songs. We spent some time. We spent about 3 songs.
Well, then what happened is after they were done with the slow songs, they stayed on the dance floor for the faster songs.
Keep going, right? So it's just like it's this, and then there was more people, right? So this was a really good wedding as far as the dancing is concerned. This was like my top one.
Yeah,
for sure.
It was good
for sure.
So wedding tip. So I think that the bride and groom, and we always say this to every bride and groom, but I think they executed really, really great on this. So, we always tell our bride and groom, your guests are going to follow your lead. If you're dancing, they're going to dance. If you're drinking, they're going to drink. If you're not drinking, if you're not having a good time, they're not going to have a good time.
Right.
And I think that
so important.
The bride and groom, they did a really good job about balancing everything.
Yeah.
I saw them at the bar. I saw them out front hanging out with people. I saw them dancing, you know, and it wasn't like they were always together either, right? Like they kind of conquered and divided and conquered as partners, you know? So that's what allowed, I think, for a great dance party. It allowed for great energy. It allowed for great food, you know, because they took the advice and they executed very, very well on it.
And you're right. That is something that we connected with them on very, very early is just like, if you're not having fun, your guests aren't having fun. And what's great about that is that what we always tell our couples is you've already succeeded, right? The wedding is just a celebration of your success. There should be no stress on your wedding day, right? And when you achieve that, when you arrive to your wedding day without any stress, you're just going to have a success and everybody's going to have a good time. So great point there.
What was your wedding tip?
My wedding tip was have a greeter. It was have a greeter. It was have a greeter. You really did an amazing job. You know, you did an amazing job welcoming the guests in and just having fun with them. And it gave you an opportunity to discover something brand new. And so this was something that we are going to put into our regimen going forward and let our couples know is that, you know, as the guests come in, we're not going to have a greeter there. And if you do have the mirror is going to have the program, right? Yeah. It's going to have the menu
songs
on it,
for the table releases.
Or whatever, you know, the agenda, if you will.
Especially if there's specifics or complexities, right? Like, I mean, even if, you know, when I was standing there, I got the one question that just was, it's not weird, but it was just kind of like it happened repeatedly is where do I put my gift, right? Because there's a giant thing here. Is it the bar? Is it over here? Where do I put this?
Right.
But remember, they also had the
blocks.
The blocks,
right? That you have.
What is that game called?
It's called it's Jenga. It's Jenga, right? So they have these bare Jenga blocks, and a lot of weddings have this. At one of our weddings, there was like a board that people had to sign. A lot of times, people come into a wedding and they don't really know what to do. They're really just going to go find their.
Or the worst thing happens is that they don't know what to do, so they do nothing.
Exactly.
And it's like, okay, well, I just had all these guests, but it's their guest book, right? Without having a book,
no one signed.
Yeah,
and so having a reader there absolutely ensures that you get what you want.
You get that memory. You get that moment. You know, so it is important. So.
Well, very good.
Awesome.
Okay.
I'm Taylor West.
I'm Kelvin West.
And this is Wedding Hype.